Thank you for joining us this morning. My name is Angel Jambazov, and we're here to talk about the Gifts of Love community program and the community farm of Simsbury. Today with us, we have Diana Good, the Executive Director of Gifts of Love and the community farm of Simsbury, Johnny Marshall, Director of Educational Programs at the community farm of Simsbury, Farmer Jen, the Managing Farmer and Organic Producer at the community farm of Simsbury. And we have lots of interesting programs that happen both with Gifts of Love and the community farm of Simsbury. So stay with us and we'll dive deeper into those. Let me start a little bit with the history to give you guys some background. Diana, can you tell us a little bit about the history with the community farm of Simsbury and Gifts of Love and how they merged?
Absolutely. The land was donated to the town back in the 1800s by the Eno family, with the one restriction being they grow food for low-income people. So in the cities, they would have poor houses, and in the country, they had poor farms. So if a family couldn't take care of themselves, the husband went off to war and didn't come back, or was hurt in a farming accident, and the family couldn't support themselves, they all moved together and lived at the farm and supported each other. So that really is the spirit of the farm. When programs like disability insurance, unemployment, food stamps, welfare sprung up, there was less of a need for poor houses and poor farms. So last of the technically poor rolled off the farm in 1977. At that point, it became the Town Farm Dairy, which was a nonprofit dairy for a number of years. And when that went out of business, the town, Billings Forge, and Ethel Walker came together to start the community farm of Simsbury. The real focus of the farm at that point was educational programs and summer camp, but they needed to honor the spirit of the deed, which was to grow food for low-income people in the community. So that's really where Gifts of Love came in. Gifts of Love is an organization in Avon that helps people with basic needs: food, clothes, energy assistance, household items, and furniture. But one of our biggest concerns is food access. We were also very concerned about fresh fruits and vegetables for our clients. We wanted to make sure that our clients had access to the best food available, even in tough economic times. So that's really why the community farm of Simsbury was so important for us. What happened was about 7 years ago, we got funding for a seasonal person to help access fresh fruits and vegetables for the food pantry. But I was paying a lot of attention to what was going on at the farm. And I knew they also had funding for a seasonal person. So I called up Tim Goodwin, who was the executive director at the farm at the time, and I said, you have funding for a seasonal person, we have funding for a seasonal person. Why don't we combine our resources and hire that person together? And that can be a full-time person. And they can work at the farm during the summer, doing food production, helping with educational programs in summer camp. And we can distribute the food to the Gifts of Love food pantry channels. And in the winter, that person can help us access fruits and vegetables from grocery stores. So that's what we did. And it was awesome for 5 years. And then Tim Goodwin left to become the principal of the Weaver Culinary High School. And we really took a hard look at what to do with the two organizations and thought that the best thing to do was to merge the two. That way, Jen and Johnny at the farm can focus on what they do best: educational programs, summer camp food production, and Gifts of Love can take care of the back office support. We've got a volunteer coordinator, an accountant, an executive director, and a whole lot of volunteers, which really frees up the farm staff to do what they do best.
Now, I know Gifts of Love itself does more than just food. Mm-hmm. What does Gifts of Love handle in the area in terms of helping needy families in the area?
We also help people with food, clothing, energy assistance, household items, furniture, and we help people in the greater Hartford area. So although it is a lot of people in the Farmington River Valley, last year we helped 19,000 people all over the greater Hartford area. One of our largest programs is our weekend food backpack program for kids who are on free and reduced lunch who may not have food over the weekend. What we do is we put a bag of food together. We try to do a whole dinner for the family: noodles and stew, pasta and sauce. We do snacks for the kids throughout the week. 1 week we may focus on breakfast and do cereal, oatmeal. The next week we'll focus on lunch, peanut butter and jelly, bread. 8 years ago we started with 2 backpacks in Avon. We have now grown to 280 backpacks.
Wow.
In Avon, Canton, Farmington, Simsbury, and 2 schools in West Hartford.
So that's a lot of organization stuff. I mean, how do you find the right families to reach out to, and who in the community do you really rely on in terms of helping grow the program? Mm-hmm.
Most of our clients need to be working or enrolled in school to qualify for our program. We find that there are a lot of programs for people who are not working, but if you are working and make a little bit too much money, you don't qualify for a lot of programs. The number that we use is $42,000 for a family of 4. If you earn more than that, you don't qualify for government support. So a lot of what we see, especially in the Farmington River Valley, are double income families that used to be fine. Now they're single income families and they are not fine, and they make more than that $42,000 mark and don't qualify for any government help. So those really are the people that we reach out to most.
So with educational programs, obviously you've got the camp that's happening, on the farm and so on. So let's talk about Johnny, and tell us a little bit about how the camp came about and what your camp schedule is for the summer, because it's going to be a wonderful summer. We can already tell it's been a great start to the spring.
Great. Yeah, we're very excited about it. And we're hoping and expecting to have a sellout crowd this summer. Camp runs for 8 weeks. People can sign up anywhere from 1 to 8 weeks. And there's no certain area that you have to sign up for. All the kids are doing all the activities, and they are kind of separated into age groups. Camp starts on June 20th this year and runs through August 14th. And we also have before and after care, which is a really nice feature for working parents or single parents. And we have a great curriculum that happens there on the farm.
So tell us a little bit about the curriculum. I mean, what do the kids get to do? I mean, in terms of, animals or, or exploring or fun?
It's a little bit of everything. It's the way camp used to be for us is when we were kids. We do a lot of large group activities early in the day so people get to know each other. There's that whole cohesive feeling of singing songs and learning how to be in a camp community. And then when they divide off into smaller groups, all of the kids get an opportunity to be farmers for the day. They're not there to just pet the animals and look at things. They're there to experience it, hands-on, get dirty, take care of the animals, get to know them. We put them out in the garden. They're harvesting. They're helping with all of the garden production in our educational garden. And we like to get them to really involved in that and get dirty and get tired.
And it must be exciting to see kids who maybe have never experienced a farm life just get really, really excited about things. Like, give us an example of something like that you were like, wow, these kids have never gotten to experience this, and this was just mind-blowing to them.
Actually, I had that moment yesterday. I have it quite often, but yesterday I ran a spring camp that was just a lot of fun. I took this little girl down to our chicken coop, and she said, "Why isn't that chicken moving?" And the chicken finally got up. There was an egg, and it was that magical moment of, oh my gosh, an egg.
This is where eggs come from.
Yeah. So that's another thing we do every day at the farm is we take turns collecting the eggs, and for some kids that's just magical. We also, set the calves out yesterday after we fed them, and to watch a cow run was a whole new experience for a lot of these children. They hadn't seen that. They've seen them grazing, they've seen them lying down, but to run in a field, they really like that.
Yeah, and it's great to see them run and stuff. Now, I know that you've got a wide range of kids that are as part of the camp. Tell me a little bit about the leadership program that the camp does as well.
So the range is 4 years old up to 15 years old at camp. And it's all full day except for there are 4-year-olds that can come for a half day if they're just trying to get their feet wet into the whole camp experience. The leadership program that you mentioned is something that is growing, and I'm very excited about it. It's 14 and 15-year-olds that are old enough to go to camp, but they're transitioning into that stage of they want to get a job. So we have these kids come to camp to learn a whole new set of skills, to work with each other, to work with younger children, to work with the environment. If they find that working with kids one-on-one or in a small group is not their niche, there's certainly other things out there on the farm where they can have new experiences, build up these skills, find a way to interact with the community and with each other.
And I thought Johnny started the leadership program last year because I was complaining so much about my 14-year-old and what I used to do with her and all her friends. And it was great. It was really awesome for her. It's an age that really struggles. They are too old for camp and they are too young to work.
Yep.
And it was really neat to see them out there working together and working with the little kids. So it's a wonderful program.
And how big is the farm in terms of being able to explore, and what do you guys do?
Yeah, we have 77 acres. It's an incredible space because we have at least 5 different ecosystems right on our property. So the kids, a big highlight of the day is going down to the stream, not just to get wet, but to catch different animals, to see things, to explore. We have that. We have a wetlands. We have the farmland across the street. So we really have the kids explore all of that property. They need their exercise. We want them to get tired, but we also want them to learn about these different environments and how to care for them and use them.
So along with the animals and stuff, there's obviously an educational garden?
Yes. We have, what is it, 3/4 of an acre? Jen?
3/4 of an acre.
Yeah, 3/4 of an acre. Beautiful teaching garden right in front of our classroom. And we're really lucky to have Jen on board because we're planting some really unique and different vegetables out there and things that will be coming up at different times. So the kids will take responsibility for that. And they're going to be maintaining the garden, picking off the bugs, taking care of it, and harvesting. And all the food in that garden goes to the Gifts of Love food pantry.
That's awesome.
And part of the focus for the educational garden is really on planting it with the intent to be able to show the children what food actually looks like versus what it is in the grocery store. Most people are not familiar with what produce actually looks like in the ground, and so they have very little connection to the growing process. And so I think it's really part of the educational experience to be able to get Johnny and her kids out there so they can actually see what food really looks like, and to be able to go back to their families and teach them the difference between what, say, celery looks like in the ground and celery looks like in a package in the grocery store.
So you talk about food access. Let's talk about the food access program a little bit and how the food access component of the farm interacts with Gifts of Love.
So this year on the farm, we have a very large CSA program. We're looking for 50 members to partnership with the farm. And CSA is really a partnership between members of the community and the farm and the farmer. It stands for Community Supported Agriculture, and that's really what it is. By becoming a member, your dollars go to help support the farm and our food access programs. And in exchange, you get 20 weeks of fresh, locally grown produce right out of our organic fields. And it's really a good way to experience how food changes through the season and to understand season availability and to help develop the food, the local food chain. We're very dependent on food that is trucked in. And a lot of that food, because it's trucked, has lost a lot of its nutritional value. So by having local gardens and local farms that are able to provide not only CSA members but food access programs, it really allows me the opportunity to put fresh, very nutritious, organically grown produce in front of people who really want and need it.
And Diana, I remember you'd said to me that the nutrition component was a big reason that the farm got in there. And you talked a little bit about some concern originally, in terms of families getting enough nutrition. Can you address that real quick?
Absolutely. It's very important for us to have our clients be able to access healthy local produce, even in tough economic times. And one of the things that we're working on is also delivering CSA shares to some of the low-income housing developments in Hartford. So Jen is not just growing for the CSA program and the Gifts of Love food pantry and Simsbury Social Services. We're also bringing that food directly into Hartford. So last year we brought CSA shares to Serramonte Commons, which is low-income housing supported by the Y. We're also hoping to expand that to Billings Forge and My Sister's Place.
Nice. So it sounds like, if I'm part of the local community and I'd like to invest in both providing great organic food to myself, I can invest in the CSA and also provide food for other families.
Exactly. By becoming a member of the CSA, your financial support, your membership fees directly go to not only supporting the operational of the farm, but the programs that allow me to harvest and distribute food to low-income people and people that don't have access to it. And so by becoming a member of the CSA, I can use those dollars to support the farm, and then I can get more produce out to Gifts of Love and the food access programs.
So I know that you're doing a lot of things in order to increase the production. Can you talk about what you're doing in terms of food access there, in terms of what's being grown, and also some of the new infrastructure that's happening?
So yeah, we're really lucky on the farm that we are really, really supported by not only members of the community, but businesses that are local to the community and charity foundations that are local. We have all of our operating expenses for the farm that are not provided by our CSA members are provided by local businesses and local charity foundations. And that has allowed us through grant programs to purchase infrastructure development that the farm needs. I'm interested and committed to developing the farm infrastructure so that I can grow 4 seasons worth of food. Right now the farm is not structured to do so, but we have a lot of infrastructure. We're building greenhouses, we're developing irrigation systems, we're getting new high tunnels. It's going to allow me to put the farm into 4-season production. And
which is important because people need
food year round, not just in the summer when the gardens are flush, but through the winter as well. That's really when you're trying to spend money on fuel and the holiday season, and so that access, not only for people that are low income, but it also allows me to provide access to food for other members of the community who are interested in continuing year-round fresh local organic produce. And by developing out our infrastructure, not only does that give me that 4-season production, but it allows Johnny, through not only her summer camp programs, but her inter-district programs where she has students from Hartford and Simsbury come out to the farm, to see how the farm would function year-round. And that's really, really crucial to the spirit of the farm.
Well, and it sounds like just community integration is a big component of it. And I also understand that there are some starting farmers that you guys also help.
Yeah, the farm has a long-standing program of what's called an Incubator Farmer program. And that's for farmers who have some experience farming and are interested in developing agriculture as their primary business. And so we have a program where we have a low lease access where young farmers can come out to the farm. They can lease an acre at low cost in order to function their business. And they have the support, kind of like a cushion of the farm in general. So I'm available for consultations, for just a referral, for support if they get overwhelmed. And that allows, and they have access to all of our infrastructure and our machinery and our irrigation systems. And that serves a couple of purposes. One is it gives them some support and some security while they figure out how to do this, how to make their farm as a business. And it also gives them the opportunity to save money because they have access to all of our equipment. That allows them to save money so that when they rotate out of our Incubator Farmer programs, they have the funds available to purchase their own infrastructure or to find access to land at low cost for them to continue. We also have acreage that is available at low cost for local farmers. Ideally, we rotate our Incubator Farmers off of their kind of security net and onto that land where they can run their own businesses.
So it sounds like, with everything you're doing in terms of, distributing things to families in need, both food and, furniture and other things, and with the educational program and the summer camp, and with everything that's going out in the gardens and stuff, that you guys have to be really, really dependent on volunteers and the community taking part. Can you address that a little bit?
Absolutely. We really rely on volunteers and volunteer support. We've probably got 135 volunteers at Gifts of Love and maybe another 500 that come out to the farm through the United Way Day of Caring. And some of the things that we're really excited about, we have a volunteer group. 2 of the projects that we're doing this spring, the construction projects, one is very volunteer driven, which is our pavilion. We have a number of people from Triumph, which is a company in Windsor, coming out and putting a pavilion right up in front of the classroom that we can use both for summer camp and for farm-to-table dinners. And the other project that we're doing is the educational greenhouse. And that really is going to serve a dual purpose. As Jen said, we're going to be able to grow food longer into the growing season. But it will also support Johnny's inter-district education program. Every 4th grader in Simsbury visits the farm 4 times during the school year. They learn about where food comes from. They learn about healthy activities and healthy alternatives and all the ecosystems at the farm. But they're paired with a 4th grade class from Hartford that they meet all 4 times when they come out to the farm. So they're also learning about each other. So the educational greenhouse will be really great when the weather's a little bit bad. We don't have to cancel those programs. We can just pull them inside.
And so, Johnny, what kind of volunteers are super helpful for you? With that many kids coming in almost regularly, in terms of just both the everyday function of the school and also the camps themselves?
Wow, a wide variety of volunteers. This spring we had a wonderful woman come out and did some nutrition counseling with me and the children. We do a lot of cooking, both in camp and the school programs, and we hope to use more of the fresh produce off the farm to do that. But to have a volunteer who knows a lot about nutrition, she came out, she developed this whole program about getting all the 5 food groups from my plate, which
Not
the
just
kids,
chocolate?
Not just chocolate, no chocolate. They actually put protein, seeds, and spinach and stuff in their smoothies, and they all want to try it because they're at the farm.
Right.
So that's just an example. We do a lot of art. We do a lot of creative projects with the kids, indoors and outdoors. And we also do a lot with community service. So having people that want to volunteer and show the kids what it means to help out in the community at a young age. Service learning is so important these days, and it's all a part of what we are. And as you can tell, this is all kind of very interconnected naturally. It just happens. But having volunteers that want to help teach that and be a part of it are just wonderful. I had 2 interns this spring. Amazing.
Nice.
And one is, interested in going into the food corps, and the other one's an ecology major, and they both bring something really valuable to the table for all of us.
There are a lot of opportunities as well for volunteers. We have some volunteers, both at Gifts of Love and at the farm, that come like it's their job. Every Wednesday morning there's someone at the front desk, and that's
Because they're
what they
passionate
do,
about it.
because they're passionate about Gifts of Love and our mission. And then there are also people that come to the farm every afternoon to feed the animals. There are also people that want to do a specific project. We have a lot of Eagle Scouts. One project was to build a dock into the wetlands so that we can do a lot of water samples. So there are specific projects that you can come and get done. We get a lot of specific projects done with the Day of Caring groups, but then there are also opportunities to come on a regular basis. And sky's the limit as far as we're concerned.
Yeah, those families that help out with the animals are amazing, and they're very dedicated. It's a great way for families to have a farm but not own one, and to have
Have
family
a cow,
time.
but not in their house.
Right.
Exactly.
And so we've had some long-standing volunteers that will get up at the crack of dawn to come open the farm on a Saturday or close it on a Sunday night. And they're there, they're cleaning out stalls. They're not just petting the animals. They're really getting down into the trenches, and we really appreciate all of them.
And Jen, real quickly, with both the volunteers and with what you're trying to build with the greenhouse, can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, there's a lot of volunteers that are interested in just coming out and getting dirty in the garden, which is really great because I'm the farmer, and I'm really completely dependent on volunteer labor to come out and help me plant it and weed it and water it and maintain it. It's a task of love. The work is hard, and people that come out are very passionate about experiencing what it is like to have that time out in the garden, and to see how their hard work positively affects the other people in their community. And there's a lot of satisfaction and enjoyment out of it. It's a very good bonding experience. And there's a lot of people who are very committed. They want to come out every day on a Monday or every afternoon on a Wednesday, regardless of weather and regardless of temperature and regardless of bugs, just to have that experience.
Well, thank goodness for those kind of volunteers, and also thank goodness for a lot of the corporate sponsors that are, helping provide stuff with the greenhouse and everything. Diana, can you talk about in terms of, the projects and in terms of corporate sponsorships, how that's going?
Absolutely. Gifts of Love and Community Farm are 2/3 of the way through a capital campaign. We are having a $1.5 million capital campaign for 3 separate pieces. The first piece is Gifts of Love bought a building about 2.5 years ago to house the merged organization. So the first $500,000 we're going to use to retire the mortgage. The second $500,000 is to support new programs and program expansion. We want to further our Weekend Food Backpack program into West Hartford, which is a huge concern for us. We have 1,000 kids on free and reduced lunch in the Farmington River Valley. There are 2,000 kids on free and reduced lunch in West Hartford. So there's a huge area for growth in West Hartford. We also started a senior food program in Avon, Canton, Farmington, and Simsbury to get boxes of food to low-income seniors. The third pocket of money is for capital improvements, both at Gifts of Love and the farm. We are not state funded, so we really rely on individual donations. We write a lot of grants to family foundations and corporate foundations, and we have been incredibly lucky. Gifts of Love has been here almost 27 years, thanks to people in this community, and we really appreciate that. Both monetary donations and donations of time are incredibly important to us. One of the things that we say is Gifts of Love is here for a lot of different reasons. It's absolutely about our clients and making sure that they've got the basic needs that they need. But it's also about our kids, getting them out there to see what's going on at the farm, to get them interested in community service, and about our older volunteers who still have a lot of life left to give, and being able to volunteer at Gifts of Love on the farm really keeps them active and really have ownership in our programs, which we truly appreciate.
Well, I mean, it sounds like there's so many things that Gifts of Love and Community Farm Simsbury is doing, and that, as you've heard, that community volunteers, corporate donations allow these programs to both help local kids, local families, learn about farms, participate in the farming, and also get access to food and services that they need. And we can't do any of these things without the involvement of the community. We're very happy to be part of the community, and we thank everybody for both their generous donations and their time. And thank you so much today for joining us. If you'd like to learn more information about our programs, please go visit giftsoflovect.org. Have information both about the educational programs and about the farm programs and how you can volunteer and donate. Thank you very much for your time and joining us today.
Funding for Simsbury Community Television is provided in part by contributions from viewers like you. Thank you.